really important to try to understand what's going on with the people that we also tend to categorize and make a lot of assumptions about. So we have attitude on both sides, attitudes that are unexamined, that really deserve some attention, both within ourselves, especially within ourselves, but also in our communities, our families, and so forth. You mentioned so many important things. Fear, in particular, was one, and anxiety. So a lot of the problems that we face around, especially around race, but perhaps around gender as well, are based in certain fears and anxieties about things that we don't understand well enough. So your methodology of trying to really step in the shoes of the other, try to get some understanding, overcome some initial rage, which in a way is also a very useful practice, because in that case, we have no choice but to try to deal with our anger, with our rage. And of course, here again, the Buddhist teachings have some really important methods for dealing with anger and rage, namely, again, loving kindness and compassion. Also, you mentioned the wisdom to understand what's going on here. What is the basis of fear? Why do we feel at risk when we confront someone whose attitudes about race and gender are different from our own? Also, fear may be anxiety. Examine our own assumptions. What kinds of prejudices do we hold that we really haven't looked at carefully enough? And here, of course, meditation, I think, brings a lot of this to the fore. We have to deal with our own attitudes when we look inside. And we also can't rely on other people to work through them for us. We have to work through them ourselves, facing our own anger and facing our own fears. Of course, the basis of a lot of these fears is the fear that we may be threatened, that we may no longer exist, and here we come back to maybe understanding Buddhist constructions of the self. Self and no self.
Lekshe was talking about meditation, the importance of meditating and going inside and really dealing with ourselves, looking to see what's there, and in that stillness and in that silence, working on it. And there's another aspect to that. I think it's in the Majjhima Nikaya Sutta number 8 on effacement, the rubbing out of the self, that egoic self. And the Buddha was saying that this part, you can't do this in meditation. This you have to do in the moment. So I was practicing effacement this week when I was listening to conservative talk show radio, because I was working on the rubbing out of that self, that egoic self that wanted to rant and rave and was in opposition to all of that. And that has to be done in real time. I can think about it when I'm in meditation, like, oh yeah, I can handle that. But when it's right there in my face, I can't. I have to learn how to handle it right then and right. Cultivation and discipline, I think, is what singles us out maybe over a lot of other traditions where we are depending on reliance on the completed work of others. But this is called and developing the discipline until we turn the mind. Mind is chief. Whatever we think and ponder on, that's the inclination of our mind. He abused me, he beat me, he robbed me. If we continually harbor such thoughts, anger in us will not be appeased. And so right in the middle of recognizing abuse, of beating and being robbed, and yet not ruminating over it constantly. He abused me, he beat me, robbed me. Yes, it is happening. We recognize that. But if we don't work with the mind and not falling in line behind that, then our anger will not be appeased. But if we can stand and learn, practice the discipline of sitting with it, then it just becomes cause and condition. And I understand that, cause and condition. It takes the sting out of something. And like I say, living in this skin for 67 years, if I go into a place and somebody asks me, how can you tolerate that? Somebody saying that to you, but over my lifetime, I have come to know that when way, or that mind that speaks that way, or that thinks that way. You know, and I'm like, so do you feel safe going in? Sure. What does that to do with me? I'm cultivating something different in my mind and in my heart. So that when I go into that space, depending on how much I've cultivated, it'll be how much safety I feel there. So it's more like seeing someone as pitiful, because I know what a pitiful wretch I was. And so in this way, I think we come up stronger. The strong does bear, they do bear the infirmities of the weak. And in this sense, I don't by any means see myself as a victim. I don't feel like a victim as a Black person. I don't feel like a victim as a woman. I don't feel like a victim. I try to speak from that strength. Even if we were afraid, we like try to not let you see that we were afraid. You know, so the talk of suddenly much vocal, I don't feel safe. I'm like, I don't know where that came from. Because we couldn't have survived. I couldn't have survived for 67 years of feeling that way. Our white sisters and brothers who are steps of color, not to take on something that we really have worked through all of these years. And we do know our own strength, and not to let that fall by the wayside. So that means sometimes that whites, instead of leading the brigade in their righteous indignation of what's happening with other people, that sometimes they have to get behind, and they have to let whose battle it is, they have to let them lead, and they have to follow. I was asked to sign a letter once about 6 months ago, and this letter was like just a statement of what we believe about Black, but I didn't sign the letter because who wrote the letter, I've been to their sanghas. If you're not doing it in sangha, don't send out a letter for me to sign. So I didn't sign it because the work had not been done. We have to make sure that we're really working it minute by minute, right where we are, right where we live, right in our sanghas, right in our neighborhoods. And it becomes easier then to be part of the dialogue in a non-offensive way.